Hello everyone. Welcome to another Color and Chat. I put it up for voting yesterday. I asked you which book I should be coloring in, and typically I leave these polls up for about a week, but this time I'm just going to go ahead and jump into it because already the voting is about 85-15. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started, or technically I got started already earlier this morning. As you can see, I've already filled in the gray. I have been playing with color palettes that typically I don't gravitate towards often, meaning I've been trying to pull back from the pinks and the purples and the golds a little bit. Not because I don't like them and because I'm going to stop using them. No, those are my signature. I'm going to continue. But doing the same old gets a little boring, right? We have to toss in a little bit of spice for better or worse. So that's what we are doing. I've already selected the color palette for this. I'm sticking with, I hesitate to use the term neutral because they aren't necessarily neutrals, but I got some new Jelly Roll Moonlights, the gray ones. They've just released some gray ones. So I wanted to play a little bit with those. So I'm going to go with a gray, and these flowers I'm going to be coloring in. Oh shoot, my air conditioner just turned on, so you're going to hear that. Dang it, hold on, let me turn on, but I flipped the switch, so it should be turning off in a minute or two. You see how much I love you? I'm suffering for you. I have my ceiling fan on now, but still, it is over 100 degrees in the middle of October. Past the middle of October. It is almost, what, the 16th? 17th? What's the date today? Oh, lost track of time. Anyway. Don't say I never did anything for you. I'm going to suffer in this heat just so we can do this color and chat. Okay, so Dark Garden it is. Dark Garden is available on Amazon as a bound copy, and the printable version is available on Etsy if you are a printable type of person. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is fill in all of the leaves, all of the foliage before we jump into the flowers. We are taking it back old school with this book because this book was, if you are one of the uninitiated, well, you're going to get a little history lesson. This is the second book that I ever released. This one came right after Spooky Sweets. And this was the first book that I started to play with getting away from the overly cutesy themes. Not that I don't enjoy cutesy themes. If you have been with me for a while, you know that my books tend to, they vacillate between being super cutesy boopsy and a little bit more, I hesitate to use the word grown up because they are not necessarily staunch, stiff upper lip type of adult type books, but I mean they're less cutesy, less candy coated. So I like to do the very cutesy books like Eerie Patisserie, which is all big bobble-headed girls and cute little skulls. And I also enjoy doing still cute, but less cutesy, I suppose is what I'm trying to articulate here. Books such as Fashion Circus, which you can see the big difference between the themes in this book versus something like Eerie Patisserie or Spooklets. Stylistically, my artwork hasn't changed since this book has come out, but the style of my coloring books has definitely changed a bit. In these early books, I was experimenting with much more of a sketchier type of a style. The line work is thinner and wonkier. It's not quite as clean as it is now. And I don't think this style will ever necessarily come back. I think I kind of gave this style a little bit of its swan song with the Macaron sketchbook, because in the Macaron sketchbook coloring book, I took this whole sketchy wonky line idea and really took it to a wonky line level, because it's this book, the Macaron sketchbook, everything in here is super sketchy, very stylized, and I think that was kind of my, I don't want to say my last foray into sketchy style books, because the mood may arise someday for me to do another one, but this book is nostalgic to me in a way, and so I appreciate it, and it's nice to come back to it several years later. It's nice. It's like visiting an old friend, you know? This is, by the way, my first copy of it. I never finished it. I think the only one of my books that I've legitimately finished from page 1 to the last page is Spooky Sweets. And the theme of this book is, of course, toxic botanicals, which I really like. I enjoy the theme of this book quite a bit, and I think a revisitation of a toxic garden would be fun to do someday. Not right now, though. I have a couple of other books in mind. So if I ever do return to foliage and things, it will be quite a ways away. But we'll see. And as far as the colors for this page is concerned, I'm not even going to bother calling out the colors, because my previous few color and chats have been primarily experimental, so I wouldn't recommend that you try to replicate what I'm doing, because it can very easily become a big mess. So just grab a couple of greens, grab some grays and some pinks, and you'll be all right. Or grab whatever color you want to use. Wouldn't you know it? Surprise, surprise, another one of my pens is dying. My little art graveyard that I've been accumulating over here on my cart is going to be filled with these friggin' markers by the end of it. Gosh, seriously. Damn markers, I swear. I'm not sure what to blame it on. I'm not sure if I should blame it on the lack of juiciness of the marker or bad component design, because Prismacolor markers and Copic markers, my God, those things last for years, even with heavy use. These did not hold up very well, which explains a lot, because they're super inexpensive. They're right around $40 for 100 markers, so what can you expect, right? And I knew that jumping in. I wasn't expecting them to be as good as Prismacolors or Copics, but they're fine. If you were looking for a budget marker to play with, they're okay. Are there better ones on the market? I don't know. To be completely honest with you, I have no idea. This is the set that I started with, and this is the set that I'm going to use until it's dead, so I haven't bothered to look into any other inexpensive entry-level alcohol marker sets. All right, I'm going to fill in the foliage, and then when I start with the flowers, I will check in with you because I'm going to try something, nothing mind-blowing, but something a little bit different for the flowers. Again, nothing mind-blowing, nothing innovative. We're just going to be blending a couple of markers together. Woo, big deal, right? But if you are curious to see my method, then I will pop in and show you. The foliage isn't necessarily done, but the base is complete. So now what I'm going to go in and do is start coloring in these flowers. And these flowers are called Angel's Trumpet, if you are unfamiliar. They're a highly toxic plant that smells beautiful. And the trees are beautiful too. Are they shrubs, trees? What would you consider these? I don't know. They're a short tree that is dripping in these beautiful flowers that are deadly, essentially. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to fill it in, because what I want to do is I'm not going to color them in their actual colors. What I want to do is play with the idea of them being deadly, bloody, just mean little plants. So I'm going to color them in with now this color on other paper is a bit lighter. It's much more peach. It's more fleshy looking. The ink on some alcohol markers, and these in particular, these Cali Arts, tend to darken up quite a bit on this coloring paper, because it is quite porous, so it causes the ink to pool up a little bit. So the color swatches that I make on other paper are a bit deceptive, because this is looking quite a bit peachier than I had wanted it to look, but that's okay. It's just a coloring book. I'm not freaking out about it at all. I'm just letting you know. If it's happening to you, it's not some supernatural phenomena. It's just the paper. It's just the way that the pigment and the alcohol are going to react with the paper. So what I'm going to do is just fill in a few of these flowers and then show you how I'm going to handle the blending. Is it going to work? I don't know, but we're going to try it. Because this is not a marker paper, so blending is not easy on porous paper. And what I'm going to do is go in with, let's see here, which colors. I'm going to go in with a red first. And I might go in with a couple of different reds, actually, because I want to give this the look of being a bit blood-stained, drippy, goopy, blood-stainy goodness. So I have to be a little bit messy, and I also want to be just a little bit quick, because to get that blood-stainy effect, I'm going to layer on top of everything a pink. So what I'm doing is I'm laying down, if this is a bit intimidating, don't use as many colors as I'm using if you're going to try this kind of blending, because again, these books are not at all designed to facilitate the blending of markers. So if you are attempting to blend markers on this paper and you are finding that you are failing in your technique, chances are it is not you. It is because this paper was not designed for you to be able to do that. So keep that in mind. I would recommend practicing learning how to blend on a paper that is designed for blending, before you try doing it on something like this, because it will be a lot more encouraging if you say, hey, look, I actually do know what I'm doing. It's the paper that's not letting me do it properly. So just boost your confidence a little bit before you jump in trying to do things the wrong way. But what I am doing is I'm layering 2 shades of red and then blending them out as best I can using a pink color while the ink is still relatively wet. Because this is marker, alcohol marker, the ink is going to dry pretty rapidly. So you do have to work a little quickly. But I think we are achieving what I set out to achieve decently, all things considered. It's actually looking more of a natural gradation in the foliage, or in the flowers rather, than it is blood, but maybe a little bit later if I start adding in some more details and blood splatters, it may look a bit more bloody. But for now, I'm just trying to lay down the colors. Now I'm going to do one more. I'm going to do this one right here, and then I'm going to complete the rest of them off camera because it's kind of a lot. This is going to take me a little while. It's not difficult, but it is fairly tedious, and you don't want to see me do the same thing over and over, right? So here I go, laying down one color, deepening it up a little bit with another one. Again, working very quickly. Now grabbing that pink, lighter color, and just keep layering and layering while the inks are wet, and that will help the colors bleed a little bit more. All right, so off I go to do the rest. And we are back a day later, 2 days later. Let's see how much more we can get done on this little lady today. So as you can see, I have already mostly finished the flowers. I think I'm going to go in and add a little bit more detailing later, but I have started to work on outlining everything. If you are familiar with my work, you know that I am very line intensive. I very rarely will leave a line alone. So I'm not going to simply lay down a line and leave it. I'm going to add more. I'm going to thicken. I'm going to play with the line weight until I'm satisfied. And that's what I'm doing here. So I worked on this half, the left half of the flowers and the foliage, and the right still needs to be worked on. And you can see, at least I hope, that you can tell the difference. I can tell the difference quite dramatically in person, but all of the foliage and the flowers to the left are more defined than they are on the right. This is not something that you need to do. It's not a requirement. I'm not saying, hey, do as I say, this is the correct way. No. This is merely my way. I tend to like varying line weights. That's why if you look at these earlier books especially, you can tell that the lines are thin in some areas, much thicker, and that still carries on today. But I find that in my earlier books, I was trying to stick with more of a thinner line. Just stylistically, that was the choice that I made. And there's nothing more to say on that. Thicken your lines or don't. It is that easy. I am going to, I wanted to lay a little bit more color down today, so I think I'm going to do that. So let's work on, I'm going to do, I'll tell you what, I'm going to leave all of the outlining of the plants for later. I'm just going to do a couple of leaves so that you get an idea of what it is that I'm doing, and then we're going to move on to adding some color onto her, because this is going to turn into at least 20 minutes worth of work just outlining these leaves, 15-20 minutes probably. And nobody wants to see all of that. That is boring. So just grab whatever liner that you have, whatever inking pen that you have. I always recommend going with waterproof pens, but that's up to you. You use whatever it is that you have on hand. These are just what I happen to use. And in the event I haven't said it in this video, I will leave the links to the supplies down below, but in terms of these inking pens that I use, I despise these. I despise them. I recommend Microns or Le Pens, these. Microns or Le Pens. There are other great ones on the market. I know that Copic makes something called a multi-liner, but they're more expensive. These are the least expensive. These are mid-range, and then the Copics are the most expensive. And I find that both of those that I just showed you work just as well, so I have no need to purchase the Copics. These I just happened to find on super clearance a long time ago. I'm talking years ago. And I went full ham because having tried these inexpensive ones, I thought, oh, well, if the inexpensive ones work just as well as the Microns, I'm sure the Zig ones will be fine, because I have a couple of other Zig products that are okay. So I just assumed, because they were so inexpensive, I purchased them in bulk. And when I say bulk, I mean bulk. I bought like 30 of each pen. So now I'm stuck using them until they're gone. And I've been slowly whittling down my stash over the years. So don't use them. They're terrible. The tips are really bad. They're so hard. They're not as flexible as the Microns, and they're not as juicy either. I don't know. I hate them. But inking pens aren't for everyone either. I know that there's a couple of you out there who have major issues with the Micron pens for some reason. I don't know if it's simply the tips that you don't like, or the inks, if they've been dry. I have no idea, but I think at least one of you had an issue with, oh my gosh, I'm saying a lot today. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Slap me through the screen. It's early. So, for those of you who have encountered any dry ink in the Microns, what I would suggest is purchase them open stock. I don't know what else to say, honestly, because I've never purchased a Micron that was a dud, and that could very well be because I purchased them open stock. No, I guess that's not really an excuse, because even when I purchased them open stock, I never opened them to test them there in store, because I don't know, I just never do. But if that's an issue that you're running into, that's probably why. And I was also purchasing them at an art store, so turnaround time was quick, meaning that they were constantly being replenished, constantly being restocked. So there was no risk of people just dilly-dallying, walking into the store and testing pens like they do at, say, Michael's, where they have all their pens open stock and people just test them just to test them for fun. At an art store, it wasn't like that. People knew what they wanted. They would go in, they'd grab the pens, and there wasn't a whole lot of testing going on, which was great. So other than that, I don't know what to tell you. I don't like that people think I'm steering them wrong when I'm telling them to purchase Microns, because they are the industry standard for a reason. So I'm not blowing smoke up your bum. I'm telling you that they work. And if they haven't worked for you, it's probably because you've purchased duds. I don't know what else to say. I love them. I love them. So you can see what I've done with the leaves there, and I am going to go in and add more details to the leaves later. We're going to do some veining, some line work, and something that I also did on the leaves that I'm going to demo really quickly is, if you can probably see it on this side more so than on this one, but I am going over and I am stippling and adding some extra details to the leaves in their same color. So I'm layering the same color on top of itself just so that I can get a little bit of a mottled effect. Now this mottled effect looks a lot more dramatic while the marker ink is still wet, because it is going to lighten up a bit as the alcohol evaporates and the ink dries down, but you can definitely see it in person. There's a little bit of shadowing, some modeling on the leaves. I'm saying mottling, not modeling. Modeling would mean that I'm trying to make the leaves look a bit more three-dimensional, which is not what I'm doing. I am not rendering them that way. I'm just mottling. Model is it's a pattern. Well, it is a, we'll say a biological patterning, because it's not geometric at all. It's just kind of a natural pattern that occurs. Natural, random, just modeling. Think of a rotten banana. That sort of situation. Okay, and I have no clue at all what I'm going to be doing with the background, so I'm going to avoid it at all costs for the time being. However, I am going to begin jumping into the figure because I don't know what I want to do with her. I had pulled out this color. It's a deep purple. It's a deep dusty purple, which I thought might be kind of fun to use. The colors are dark. They work with the olive green and the darker red. So I think we're going to play with that somehow. We can start with, oh no! I was working without my backing sheet. Not that the piece behind it is a masterpiece. Look what happened, it bled. But I did this page super early on. This is one of the first pages I did, and she was completed in Crayola crayons. That was fun. I still have my crayons. I need to bring out those crayons one of these days and do a page, because it's been a long time since I've played with the crayons. I like crayons, but I hate them as well. It's that waxy, dusty, like crusty feeling. Oh, it annoys me. It's the crayon crumbs. If crayons didn't leave those little waxy, crusty bits, those little crumbly bits, those chunklets, they wouldn't bother me so much, but ugh. Ink is just so much cleaner, so much nicer. Okay, I do like that purple. I do very much like that purple, and what I'm going to do is pull it on down into her outfit as well. And the stripes, why? God, that was a struggle. The stripes on her outfit, I'm going to alternate. I have this color right here. This is a Copic Chow marker. I would like a dusty kind of violet color. I think that would be nice. Let's see. I guess the gray is not bad. Let's see, where's my box of markers? Where are my markers? I know that I had a dusty, oops, I'm shaking the camera. I know that I had a dusty violet at one point, but I may have already killed it. Because I am, as I've mentioned ad nauseum, I am going through my set of Cali art markers, and I'm trying to use them all up without repurchasing them. So, okay, I guess I've already used it. So we're just going to work with what I have. That's another little preachy sermon that I give you guys, is to not feel the need to go out and buy more supplies. I would like you to work with what you have available, because not only is it going to prevent you from feeling as though you need to buy that 87,000th set of colored pencils, even though you know damn well that you have other similar sets in your art supply stash. Not only are you going to feel better about that, but it is also going to force you to think about what you're working with. It's going to challenge you to play with color palettes and to play with supplies. So it's a win-win as far as I'm concerned. I've already run into the woes of what happens when I'm running out of colors, and I know that I need them, but it has been forcing me to think, which is great. Because if we stick with what we know and we stick with what works well and what we enjoy, things get rather stagnant and boring. You have to try new things. I'm going to change the pattern on these stripes. We're going to go 2 purple, then we'll go 1 of another color. I actually don't like this, the gray, so I'm going to reach for something else. I already know what I'm going to reach for, actually. I'm sure you can probably already guess. If I tell you it's a gel pen, you probably already know. You already know. I think the lines in this book, because they're so thin, would work really well with more watercolory type soft pastel-y effects with the color. Very loose, very light. I know the theme in the book is quite dark, but just because something is dark doesn't mean that you can't play with pastels, and I think pastels in here would look great. Did you guess the glaze? Did you guess my friggin' glaze? Because that's what it's gonna be. If you guessed the glaze pen, you are my people. Now, if you are new here, The glaze is my favorite. One thing that I like to do a lot is to experiment with gel pens. It's not something that people do, and I've come up with some simple but what I consider to be fun techniques. I don't want to say innovative because they're not innovative, okay? I'm not reinventing the wheel here, but I've come up with some techniques that are really fun using glaze pens and using the souffle pens. The glaze pen is the one that I use just straight, the glaze black. Straight, I don't do anything with it except for, well, no, that's not true. I do use this one as a mixer as well, but I'll get into that someday and I'll show you that technique pretty soon. Although I have shown it to you in the past using other pens, but I don't think I've ever actually highlighted on camera using the black glaze. So I will do that, but this pen, I will say, is a bad habit because my throat is really dry. If I sound a little gravelly today, that's why. It's not necessarily because of my vaguely valley girl. I'm from California, okay, Southern California to be exact. So I have a little bit of a valley in me. Why? I have no idea. And every once in a while I do feel the vocal fry coming through, which I hate. You know, the, oh my God, like, that whole business. No, that's not my thing, but I know that I do it. And if you hear the gravelly crackle today, it's not because my valley is coming out. It's because my throat is dry. Hey, Booker Butt, stop. The drama. Turn it down. Thank you. But this pen is a bad habit because it is not expensive, but the ink is so thick and gloopy and you use so much of it that it can become a little bit of a, really, I have to buy more of those pens and spend another $3 plus on them. Yeah, it could be really annoying. So stay away from them if you're not interested in spending your money on gel pens. Because for the price that you pay for 2 or 3 of these glaze pens, you could purchase a whole new set of something else. For instance, I purchased the complete set of the grays. Jelly Roll recently, in the previous few months, had released a set of gray tones. And the full set I purchased, and it was $5 and change, right around $6. Let's just say between $5 and $7 is what it cost me for all of them. And 1 or 2 glaze pens would have cost me the same. So there's your little informational tidbit for today. Because these do die very quickly. And they take forever to dry, so if you are not patient and not good at handling your pens without smudging the ink, stay far away. But it is a beautiful pen though. Honestly, though, at this point, I have truly no idea what on earth I'm going to do with the background. Of course, by now you already know because you've seen the thumbnail, so at least you have an idea. But I just don't know. Oh, I'm going to give her a cute little glossy black pouty mouth. Oh, because she has a vaguely 1920s, 1930s makeup situation going on with the super thin eyebrows and the little pouty mouth, the little pouty bratty, sassy mouth. As a matter of fact, let's do it now. Look at that little cute sourpuss pouty mouth. Cute. I like it. She's a little sass monster. And I guess we can pull more of this in here. I like this, the colors on this page. I'm going with what I consider to be a highly conventional, I suppose is the word, color palette. Typical, the foliage and the flowers are natural, not necessarily true to life, but leaves are green, flowers are pink and red, although this is supposed to be representative of blood, but we'll get to that later. But pretty natural looking, pretty conventional color palette. You know, black. This could maybe be vinyl or latex clothing. I don't know. So it's shiny black. Just very agreeable, very normal color palette. But normal is good. You know, I don't understand this whole mentality that permeates the internet where everybody thinks that being the weirdest and being the loudest and this, that, and the other is the best thing to do and the best way to live your life. Look, some people are just naturally a little out there, a little kooky spooky, and that's fine if it comes out of you naturally. More power to you. But there's this weird culture online where people go out of their way to proclaim their weirdness, and it's just like, there's nothing wrong with being normal. Normal is good. Normal ass black coffee is delicious, okay? Normal is good, weird is good. Just do whatever comes naturally to you. That's all. Okay, because I'm not struggling, but because I'm undecided on what I'm going to do with her outfit and with the background, what I'm going to do is begin working on the makeup. And I'm hoping that the makeup will help to dictate some of the color choices that I still need to make. So we're going to go in with the glossy black and give her glossy black eyelids. I love, 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 love glossy black eye makeup. Glossy black eyeliner, which for the life of me I cannot find. Ugh. And glossy black shadow, which is available, but it's expensive. I know that you can find one. The brand is not rolling off my tongue right now. But Sephora sells one, but it's god-awfully expensive. It's one little eyeshadow is, I think, $36. And it's beautiful, beautifully editorial, just yum, yum, yummy. But it's expensive. Like, I'm not going to buy that $36 eyeshadow. If I want to take a photograph with shiny black eyeshadow, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get some eyeliner, what else? Eyeliner, some gel eyeliner, and some eyeliner pencils. And I'm going to smudge them all over the place, and then I'm going to slap some lip gloss on. It will only last a few minutes because lip gloss on your eyes is not a good idea, but if you just want to take a few pictures, there you go. Instead of going out and spending the $36. It is beautiful, though. It looks like lacquer on your eyelids. Is that what it's called? Lid lacquer? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. But it's beautiful. And for her eyes, let's go in and let's give her red. Or should we give her green? No, let's do red. Let's do red eyes on this little baby. And let's do pinky red. Okay, and for the rest of her makeup, gosh, this is hard. Because I honestly do not want to do anything with her face. I enjoy the white skin tone. I've said it a million times. Or it's a lack of a skin tone, actually, technically, if we're getting technical. So what I'm doing then is simply I guess we're, in a way, shading with the green. So this is sort of a greenish type of glow then, if you will. We'll bring it on into other areas of exposed skin, like here, and here. And this whole thigh situation. And in this instance, it definitely is beneficial that this darn marker is dying. So there you go. If you have dyeing markers, keep them on hand and use them to shade. You can cheat shade, basically. I think most of you knew that already, right? Maybe not. I don't know. Well, there's another tip for today. Keep your dyeing markers and cheat with them. Cheat shade with them. Well, so much for not giving her a damn skin tone. Well, no. It's not a skin tone. I should say so much for my not giving her skin any color, because this is not a flesh tone. At least not a traditional flesh tone. So, okay, fine. On another planet, this could be a skin tone, I guess. She does look rather alien, right? A little bit? A little big old alien bobblehead, kind of? Kind of, sort of. Well, at least the traditional alien, the gray, right? The big green or gray-headed thing. Do we believe in aliens, guys? Let me know in the comments what your thoughts on aliens are. I don't know what I believe. I am a staunch skeptic. I don't believe in anything unless I see it with my own eyes. But because science is so new to us as a species, and because we haven't even scratched the surface of exploration here on Earth, I am more inclined to believe that there is definitely life forms, or there is some sort of life form, or life in general, out in the cosmos. If you do any sort of studying on astronomy, it actually becomes quite depressing, because our ignorance as a species is painful, and the fact that we only live for a teeny tiny speck of time is just grotesquely depressing to me. There's so much to learn, so much to do, so much to see, and we can't. Being a vampire is great, but damn, can I just live forever and ever and ever? Truly? People call me the desert vampire all the time. I wish it were actually true, though. Blood is disgusting, but it's a small price to pay if I could live forever. I know people say, oh, you wouldn't want to live forever. Like, it's terrible. No, you don't understand. I don't have a lot of earthly connections, so I don't have attachments to anything in this life, right? So I would love to explore and see the world and adventure, because I'm so sick and tired of the world that we live in. It's just dull and it's repetitive. And I think being able to live forever and seeing things changing and new experiences would be exciting. And then, remember, if you do live forever, I'm sure there's a method to destroy yourself if you get tired of it, right? So, you could say, you know what? I've lived 10,000 years. I'm done. Then you just cut the light. All right, your little cheekies right here look like they're glowing a little bit. And what else shall we do with her makeup? I want to add some accent colors to her, but I don't know if I'm going to go gold or if I'm going to go silver. Something's telling me that I'm going to go with a gold. So we're going to add some gold accents to her makeup. I wanted to go with a standard metallic gold, which I could do. I have the Deco Color gold. But you know what? Oh, I need to write this on my list. So next time I go to Michael's, I'm going to have to purchase one. I like these pens a lot, these Uniball. They're just super thin metallic pens by Uniball. And I was going to say, oh, I love them so much, and I grabbed the red one, thinking maybe I could use the red one today, but it looks as though the red one might have died on me because I never use it. But the silver and the gold I do like, and I'm out of gold. I need to add, let me make a note of it right now because I have to go to Michael's soon for a couple of little things. So gold Uniball, and should I put another silver one on the list? Nah, I still have quite a bit of it. Okay, because those I purchased open stock at Michael's. Damn it with the red one. That's what I hate about gel pens, and especially not all gel pens, but it seems to be certain types that if you don't use them after a while, they dry up on you, and it's just like, oh God, what a waste. I really would like a light gray, which I know I've had in the past, but I've used it because I want to do some gray makeup. See, this is too dark. This is not what I had in mind, but it's fine. It'll do. I enjoy these Copic chows a lot. They're supposed to be the gateway drug to Copic markers because these are designed for, technically they're supposed to be single use, not refillable, for kids. That's why I'm saying that they're the gateway drug to Copics. They're inexpensive in comparison to the regular Copics because supposedly they're not refillable, but they totally are. They totally are. Let me let you in on that little secret if you didn't already know. You can just pull this out. Actually, I'm not sure if these actually pull out, but you can just re-ink them directly through the tip, which this is not a Copic tutorial today or anything, so I'm going to spare you all of that. But if you don't have the money to buy the regular Copics, just buy the chows. Now, they're not available in every single color, but just grab a few colors that you like in the chow. And it will save you the headache of having to spend $50,000 on 2 Copic markers. Okay. Gosh, what else are we going to do with the outfit? I think let's just go in with the gold and start playing with that. Gold glitter is always a good idea, so her eyes are killing me. I gotta go in and I have to do something with those. So I'm just going to do this earring and then we are going to play with the eye, add some highlights. Is she gonna get a lash? She might get one of the giant Karla lashes, so we might do that. Are we going to kill this gold pen as well? Jeez. The art supply graveyard is no joke today, or this month, I should say. You guys. These are all the pens I've used this month that have died. Now, okay. That's not to say that they were brand new when I started the month, but that's everything that I've killed off this month. I'm going to, I think, show you guys in a vlog everything that I use. It's interesting, at least for me, to see that. To know how much I'm using. I mean, maybe you guys don't care, but some people out there might be interested. I'd be interested in knowing what people use every month. Yeah, her makeup, girl, her makeup needs some help. The lines are all messed up. I need to go in and clean everything up. I promise I'll fix it. But we are going to start with the brows. I love the thin brow. I'm not going to give her a giant caterpillar brow. But I would just like to clean up some of the bleeding that occurred with the Copic marker. I still want to stick with the thin eyebrow. I love thin eyebrows. I used to rock the thin eyebrows like this years and years and years ago. Did they suit my face? I don't know, and frankly, I don't care. I enjoyed them so much. And then I just stopped because it was so much maintenance. I still pluck the hell out of my eyebrows. I mean, they are plucked to death to the point where I hardly have any. But it was way worse back then. It was so much more maintenance. I think what I have now is high maintenance. It's annoying because I'm plucking pretty much every day. It's obnoxious. I mean, I'm just a high maintenance person, to be fair, but I love, love, love these teeny tiny brows. That 1920s, 1930s style brow. Tiny, unnatural, just, I love it. Okay, her dead little eyes need to be brought to life. So let's grab, which is ironic considering the blood flowers everywhere. What a difference highlight makes, no? I don't know what she's turning into. Is she like a little vampire, a little flower vampire? I have been talking about these being blood flowers, so there you go. I just invented a creature. She's a flower vampire. I'm into it. Obviously, as the desert's a resident vampire, I would love my own kind, yes. Though by my saying that, I will say, absolutely in no way, shape, or form am I a fan of the weird soccer mom vampire fantasy. And by that I mean what are some obnoxious soccer mom vampire fantasies? Help me out. Leave them down below. I know that a big one is or was True Blood. Is that what it was? True Blood? Like that soapy, oh, I'm a bored stay-at-home mother and all I want to do is fantasize about sexy men because my husband is boring. That kind of bullshit. No, I'm not into that. I like the good, classic, fabulous horror vampires. Dracula, for instance. Not Twilight, not sparkly boys who fall in love with teenage girls. Like, get out of here with that. There's nothing dark and terrifying about that. It's just silly. If you're a soccer mom into the whole True Blood thing, girl, more power to you. I hope you find your vampire man to play with on the weekends, but this is not my gig. No thanks. That was rude. I'm sorry. I slurped right into the camera. We are talking about vampires here, though, so... Okay, what now? What now? I'm going to leave the face alone for the moment, and now we're going to bring it down. And now, because of what I've done with all of this up here with the blood and the eyes and all of that, we're going to bring the red down into the outfit. This is why it is important to jump around when you begin to feel stuck. If you go into a page and you don't have a solid idea, jump around and get a feel for how it is that you want to move forward, because in this instance, it definitely helped. So we are going to move in and do, I think, where should we add the red? Where should we add the red? Here, somewhere. Something's going to get some red somewhere. I just haven't decided on where. A red belt, or should we do that in gold? Black, gold, red. Okay. Sure. Why not? Because now what we're doing is we're unifying all of the colors. So we're pulling down some of the colors that are at the top. We're pulling them down to the bottom. And we are going to pull it into these areas here. Yep, I like that. Okay, so off camera, I am going to complete all of this up here, the line work on that, and then I'm going to fill in more colors on her outfit, and then we're going to attack that background. All right, let's see about getting this little lady completed today. As you can see, I did a little bit more work on her, and we are going to, are we going to finish her? Sure, we are going to do our best to get her finished. Today is unfortunately a sad day. Sad day for me. The last of my idols has bit the dust. Now, we've all kind of been anticipating this, considering that the man was 92, but you know, just because you're anticipating it doesn't necessarily mean that you are prepared when it happens. I have, let's see, I would say a handful of idols, quote unquote idols, and my top four. I always have such a difficult time trying to pick out my favorites, but my top four are now gone. Well, okay. Of course, two of them have been gone for a while, Harry Houdini and Carl Sagan, but in recent years, Walter Mercado, and now James Randi. Damn it, James. James was my modern Harry Houdini. So that should give you an indication of how much I love him. For those of you who do not know, he was a brilliant magician, just the sassiest sass monsters ever, and he was also a staunch skeptic, which is fitting considering I was talking about alien life forms earlier in this conversation. He was definitely, he wanted to be a believer, but because he was never served accurate or believable proof, he couldn't believe it. Just like me, I'm not going to be sold snake oil. I don't like psychics. I don't like cold readers. Not into them. They're just phony quacks, okay? And I'm going to stop talking about him in a second. Oof! I just shook the camera. I'm sorry. But what he was famous for was his $1 million challenge, and that is he challenged all of the psychic mediums of the world. He said, if anybody can prove they have these abilities, I will pay you $1 million. No one ever took the bait. Uri Geller famously failed several times. So that's the whole James Randi situation. And I'm bummed. I'm bummed. Fitting that he would leave us in October, the best month ever, but sad day. He was always fun to sketch. I've sketched him before, and I just love him. Anywho, let's reach for backgrounds. Do you know what we're going to do with the background, since I am at a loss and have been at a loss for what to do with it? We are going to do my scriggly scraggly lines. That's what we're going to do, and we are just going to stop fighting with it. Let's do some of this. And actually, we should go ahead and play with the same gray that I had used as well to make this just a little bit more textured. Okay, so let's continue. I quite like this technique. It's simple, but it's effective. I came up with it out of laziness one day because, again, I was just trying to fill up space and I wasn't sure how, and I didn't want to overwork what I was working on, and then I thought, just scribble it out. And it worked. Kind of hazy, smoky. I don't know how to describe the way that it looks, but it works. Can you see in comparison now that the grays are beginning to dry, what a huge difference it can make in terms of just adding texture, even though it's simply grays. Just a bunch of gray squiggle lines. I reached for a purple, lilac, lavender. However you would like to refer to this, I believe lavender is more accurate. A lavender moonlight. For the highlights in her hair. I'm still definitely going to play with the white highlights, but I think I'm going to keep the white highlights on the bloody flowers and the outfit, because I don't want to overkill the highlights. I do that sometimes, and it's a look that I'm purposely going for, is the just gaudy sparkle. I love the gaudy sparkle. We know this. But on a coloring page, sometimes it could be a bit overwhelming, which is fine, but I'm not in the mood for it today, so we're not going to go that route. What I am going to do is bring it down into the clothes. I was a little skeptical of how this pen was going to look on top of the purple that we laid down, because the purple that's on her is a bit more of an eggplant purple, and this is a cooler purple. And usually that doesn't work out too well, but it doesn't look bad. I like it. It's an interesting look. It's cute. And now, because we're playing the highlight game, let's grab the white. I dislike these white jelly rolls a lot less when they're new. I've never been a big fan of these. They just don't work for me very well. They're not horrible by any means, but I find that I use them only because I have no other option when it comes to a white highlighting pen. I do have the Poscas, of course, which are fine, but again, I'm stuck using the jelly roll because I have no other choice. I've not found a holy grail white highlighting pen yet. Someday, I hope it happens. See, it skips, and this one's brand new. It skips, even brand new, it's skipping, and it's just being a general butthead. People seem to love these, though. I guess it goes back to the micron debate of earlier. Some people love them, some people despise them. I think they're fine, other people hate them. Well, that's how I feel about these. I pulled out my favorite jelly roll, Moonlight, which is this bright coral red. The one that never scans. Neons never scan. They're difficult to photograph. But that's okay. And I pulled it out because I'm going to be adding just a little bit of detail to our little bloody flowers. This page is beginning to be a little bit more complex than I had wanted to, than I had anticipated making it at the beginning, but why not? It's fun going back through this book with a much different perspective than I had on coloring just a couple of years ago. My art style hasn't changed, but I was back then a little bit more prone to adherence, shall we say, meaning that I wasn't necessarily a stickler for following my own line work, but I'm much looser now. I add more lines. I just try to make things more interesting for myself in the present, because I've mentioned it before that coloring in my coloring books is not where the pleasure comes from. This project, when I was working on it, was of course consuming my time, and I was excited about it, and then once it was out into the world, that was that. I have fun seeing what other people do with my coloring books, because that's why I make those, or make any of my books, is for other people. The pleasure for me is in the process of creation and in seeing what other people do with that creation. Because the coloring books themselves are very, they're open to interpretation. My illustrations are not. I have a concept, I go for it, I complete it, boom, that's it. But these, they're very open-ended, because that's the point. The point is to get into your hands and let you interpret however you would like. So, it's a difficult idea to articulate to someone, but I don't know. I suppose the best way that I can maybe make a comparison is to talk about like a cake decorator, for instance. They love the process of decorating a cake, making it beautiful, but they aren't the ones who are going to be photographing it and consuming it and oohing and awing over it, right? So they enjoy the process of making it so that they can then hand it off to someone else to fully enjoy. That makes sense, right? I think that'll probably demonstrate my point far better than the drivel I was attempting to say. But there you have it. I am but a pastry chef, handing you my confections. I have more fun seeing other people enjoy them than I do eating them myself. There you go. What are we going to do down here? Bring just a little bit of that down. And bring it in. If something looks too clean and pristine, I freak out. Have to add some of my scriggly scraggles. Well, I should clarify, when something I create looks too clean and pristine, I freak out, because I love clean, pristine, bold artwork. Not necessarily when I make it, though. Okay, I think that's cute. That works. And pull some of this yummy color into the eyes as well. Her eyes are bugging me. Let's give her a lash. I'm going to give her a lash, and then we are going to highlight the flowers, and at that point I think we will be done. Almost done. I don't know. Let's see about giving this girl a lash. Oh, the magical things a lash can do. Am I right? This is why I love to wear giant lashes. Some of these giant lashes are a little less giant than others, but for the most part, they're big honking lashes. Even though they're very sparse and wispy, they're super long. Subtlety. I don't understand subtlety when it comes to products like that. If you are going to wear fake lashes, why do you want them to look natural? Clearly they don't, right? If something is fake and you're putting on something that's fake, well, make it exaggerated. I don't understand the whole I want to look natural even though I'm putting on fake eyelashes and a nude lipstick. I don't understand that. Why are you doing work to look natural? Just look natural. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's unnecessary work. So we're pulling out the gray, which is something you've never seen before because I just got them. I told you I recently purchased the new assortment of gray Jelly Roll pens. And we're going to give it a little go today. Just a little testy test. And there's nothing to say about them, really. I'm not going to tout the wonder that is the gray Jelly Roll pen because it's just a gray gel pen. What more is there to say, honestly? But I am going to do a little bit of, well, let's put in, instead of the white sparkly highlighty bits, going with the gray to keep it subtle, to keep with that hazy, smoky look. And we will use the gray. So yeah, so far, I mean, with this little teeny introduction to these pens, I think they are a welcome addition to my gel pen arsenal. The one thing I will say is that at the moment, to my knowledge, they are only available in the tiny 0.606 tip, which is super annoying. It's great. I like both the fine tip and the bold tip, but I like to have the pens available in both nib sizes because both are very useful. Right now, for instance, having the bold tip would be nice. Hopefully they'll release them someday. And if they don't, well, the hell's the matter with you, Jelly Roll? All right, let us go in and start adding those white highlights to the little blood flowers, and then she will be done. So I was thinking about it, and I was debating how far I should take this bloody theme. I think it would have been more effective if I had dripped the blood down, which I could do, but if I dripped the blood down, maybe gave her a little bit of blood splatter on the lips, but I opted for a more subtle spook, which is a bit more my style anyway. I'm not interested in gore, and I don't want to give the impression that she's gory. She's just a little blood flower vampire that drinks blood from these weird, strangely fleshy blood flowers. And she does it like a lady. There's no dribbling going on. Drooling and dribbling. Although giving this a drippy blood effect would have been cool. And I still could, but no, I'm ready to move on. So as I'm adding these highlights, I'm going to slowly start to make my exit. Thank you everyone for joining me for yet another Color and Chat. This is going to be, if this is not the last Karlaween edition, then it will be one of the final Karlaween Color and Chat episodes. So I hope that you all enjoyed it. I hope that you enjoyed participating in Karlaween, whether you purchased any of my books or you downloaded the freebie from my website. However you chose to participate, thank you. Thank you, of course, goes out to Kate and Shalene. Kate of Kate's Coloring Haven and Shalene of the Coloring Book Nook for creating the hashtag and getting everyone interested in coloring my books in Halloween. I mean, people were interested in coloring my books in Halloween to begin with because, hello, spookiness. But they created a nice little community that happens every October, which is always fun to see. The book is available as a printed copy, like the one that I'm coloring in today, on Amazon, or you can grab the printable version if you prefer from my Etsy shop. And it's time for me to go. I don't wanna. But I have day jobbing to get to today, and you know, adulting just... Damn it, it just gets in the way sometimes. I think you all can sympathize with me. Right? I don't think I'm going to be doing a whole lot more than what I just did on this, but if I do add any little details, I will do it off camera. But I'm going to insert the final clip now. Thank you once again for joining me. Tag me in your pages. Don't forget to tag me in the pages so I can see them on Instagram. I'm going to go now. Thank you once again. How many more times can I say thank you? But I mean it. I will see you guys in the next one.